Okay, so now if we just stick with our own little universe here, then we need to do some acknowledging, I believe. It's very helpful to acknowledge that we are more than what we seem. The whole seeming thing is a really big problem for us because we're only experiencing our five senses. And a lot of times we're only experiencing the seeing because it's so in your face. You know? We don't even, I mean, we don't even spend a lot of time with the other senses that are very important, you know, the feeling, the hearing, the tasting. We do tasting and imaging a lot. Tasting is good. But there are so many other senses that we actually have. And they say they're dormant. So that is something we should be exploring. And I know that a lot of exploring isn't done because what? People are working from 6 to 9 and 9 to 5 and kids and events and all of this distractions keep you from realizing your power as a being. And I'm grateful to have the opportunity to experience this. There are many ways where I would not have had this opportunity. I guess it all started when I was at home all the time. I was a stay-at-home wife, and all I had was the internet to entertain me, and I'm a curious sort. So, yeah, if you know my story, that's how it all started, opened up, and I steadily am realizing how I was led to that moment from being a child. And I really don't have a lot of memories of being a child, specifically. I know that I was quiet and I liked to read. I remember even when I was married, I was up to reading like 4 books at a time. When I was younger, I would read mysteries and romances. What's her name? I know I like Sherlock Holmes. I like this one Christian writer that was a romance writer. I actually got to meet her. Not impressed. I liked Agatha Christie. I was always into mysteries, which makes sense because I'm, like I said, very curious. So I guess what I'm trying to say is that my life, my path led to this reality of being able to explore. And back then there was no internet, so there was books, and even when I first was opened up to these different ideas, it was through a video. And I don't think the video had all the answers, but it created questions in me. So I took the encyclopedia out and started researching. So yeah. So I guess the point of all of that is that if you find yourself curious, follow your instincts to be curious, because it's not highly effective for me to really explain things unless you're at a certain level. I mean, I can say to you that your consciousness, it's one part of consciousness, there's another part of consciousness, and then there's a part that's connected to everything in our universe. And why that is, and why it may not, why we can use that for our benefit, but why we also need to do other things. You need to have an open mind for that type of information, because otherwise it's foreign to you. It only takes a little bit of being open. For me, it just took a little bit. Like just a little slightly cracked window. And now all the windows are open. So, yeah, I use a lot of metaphors. But it is helpful. Okay, so now I'm going to talk a little bit about Mars. I don't know that much about it, but I'll tell you what I can and what I can't.